Now, folks, if you'll just gather around a little closer now. Come right in a little closer. That's it. That's fine, folks.
All right, let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
I should have photoshopped him at the time, but this evening I saw a few I'm done with boxing tweets and in the comment section of videos. And I'm not going to assume they was from all across the pond, but there's a good chance they were. And this is in the wake of Mike Coppinger and Max Kellerman discussing how the Errol Spence and Terence Crawford fight is not going to happen this year because of what looks like the unsatisfactory practices from Al Heyman. Now, not only are we not going to get Spence and Crawford this year, we're going to lose fans from that side of the pond. You lose fans, that's less pay-per-view buys, which I feel could potentially impact on Wilder's fight with Helenius. Yeah, that news, I feel, could have a knock-on effect like that. I mean, $74.99 for that fight anyway is a tad ambitious. And now, with people seeing that the PBC just can't produce, they can forget doing pay-per-views. If you can't put Crawford and Spence on, you can forget doing pay-per-views. The main fight that people want to see, you can't produce it. And look, maybe Coppinger has an agenda, somebody's pissed him off, but he's the only source we have right now. Al doesn't say anything. So all we have is Mike Coppinger. And if he's saying something defamatory, go get at him. Get the lawyers on him, like Eddie's doing to Jake Paul. But the truth is, they had an opportunity. If it is the money that is stopping the production, they had the opportunity when Terence was signed with Top Rank to do a joint promotion with Bob Arum and get the fight over the line. The pro PBC media and fan base, they seem to laugh at that. Like, no, Bob has to be out of the picture. Spence doesn't need to take the fight because he's so wonderful. Maybe Leonard shouldn't have fought Thomas Hearns. We had to endure all this crap that Errol Spence is an A-side fighter. A-side of what? What A-side events has Errol Spence ever participated in? What are you talking about? If he was an A-side fighter, we would have the fight. Terence Crawford ain't with Top Rank no more. This ain't like Pacquiao and Mayweather. It looked like Terence was prepared to sacrifice a whole lot to get the fight done. And we still ain't got it. They keep saying that boxing has saved many kids from the street. And boxing breeds character, discipline and self-worth. I tell you what, don't send your kids to no boxing gym. Send them to YouTube and Twitter. Because they can learn more about business listening to Mike Coppinger and Michael Benson and all the other sources. They will learn more about business than boxing, I guarantee you. Now we're getting graphic tuition about the difference between net and gross earnings from a boxing event. The Saudis are going rogue again. Not only next week are they bringing Eubank over to DAZN, they've got Lyndon Arthur, who just signed to Channel 5, going to be fighting on DAZN next week. Harlem Eubank, and obviously Chris Jr. I don't know what agreements they have in place. So they're taking fighters who've got deals with Channel 5 and Sky and bringing them over to DAZN when they're ready. This makes them virtually unplayable because what fight can they not make? Now, they have a good relationship with Eddie, obviously. But what deal have they worked out with Sky? What's the loophole that Sky are allowing them to take fighters who are signed to Sky? Eubank is signed to Sky, as far as I know. Promoted by the Saudis, but he's signed with Sky. What deal do they have in place with Channel 5 and Sky that they can take fighters who are signed with the network over to DAZN? Lyndon Arthur recently signed to Channel 5, and now he's fighting on DAZN. Brilliant for boxing. Shame we have to pay pay-per-view for next week's card, but both boys are earning some big boy purses and it has to be paid for. The press run is catching traction. Good Morning Britain. The Red Tops are on it. They even pulled Eubank's fight against Wannick. They pulled that from Sky and put it on DAZN to advertise the event. It's not a joke. It's being advertised on electronic billboards. This is in Manchester. I haven't seen none in London. Chris Eubank Sr. apparently got in contact with Spencer Fearon and he's putting the word out that people should boycott the fight. He says at 33, Eubank coming in at 157 is a no-go and he wants people to boycott the fight. More than likely, he's just going to bring more attention to it. They've uploaded the first Eubank and Benn fight from 1990. They've pulled out all the stops. The shoulder programming on Matchroom, the face-off has been really good. The Make the Days Count shoulder program is really good. The second episode's about to be released soon. Good production values. What I like about Cali and Nice is that They ain't trying to please no networks. They're worried about their own legacy of what they did as promoters. And that's good. That's good. And this relationship with Eddie is working well. It's worked pretty well. You see, while Frank Warren was more preoccupied with trying to embarrass Dillian White in the build-up to their fight and not utilize him to build the fight, and it done a great gate, so it was a success, but it's still not a good use of resources. So when Frank Warren and Dev are trying to tell me that Joyce versus Parker is going to do more pay-per-view than Eubank and Benn, it's not. They just haven't put the effort in. What media production and shoulder programming did you get for Joyce and Parker? You got a face-off and that's it. They wasn't on Good Morning Britain. Fury and Wilder were. Frank's an old guy. He thinks putting all that media work is poncified. I ain't doing all that. I'm old school and all that bricktop shit. Maybe George or Francis' sons could liven that side of it up over there at Queensbury. And he spent a lot of money on revamping the Matchroom media department. A lot of money. The only thing that can hurt this event is the fight itself. If Eubank cannot perform because the weight cut takes such a toll on him, you might get unsatisfied customers. And if Benn gets blown away because despite the weight cut, it's still a welterweight versus a middleweight who's fought at 168. Plus, Eubank is vastly more experienced than Conor. There'll be unsatisfied customers and the media will be asking questions either way it goes. Yeah, like Cali, congrats to him. And Nice. The fighters are bouncing from Channel 5 to Sky to the Zone just to get the fights done. Name one fighter apart from Andy Ruiz, who was, the third choice to fight AJ when Jarrell Miller pulled out? The fourth choice, actually. The first choice was Deontay Wilder. Then Miller came in. Name one major PBC fighter who's ever broke protocol and fought on another network to make a good fight happen. A fight that Al Heyman wasn't prepared to make. I bet you this time next year, the PBC is still going to be talking about Canelo not fighting either David Benavidez or Charlo, while not matching Benavidez and Charlo in a fight. Promote it, build it up, and the winner call out Canelo. Now the undercard, it's got some good names who you're used to watching on Matchroom, but the matchups I'm not sure about. Felix Cash 15-0, we know Felix. He takes on Conor Coyle from Ireland. He's 17-0 with only 7 stoppages. I don't recognise none of Coyle's opponents, and a lot of his opponents have had losing records or really bad records. I don't know how good that kid is. I don't know, he might be good. 2 women on the card, Ellie Scotney versus Mary Romero. I don't know how good they are, to be honest. Galal Yafai, he's 2-0. He's the prospect. He did win a gold medal at flyweight in the Olympics. He's fighting for the WBC International Flyweight title against someone who's 12-1-1, Gohan Garcia. Never heard of Chloe Watson, never heard of her opponent. Harlan Eubank, who had a horrible performance last time out against the Mexican. He takes on David Campillo, 11-3-1. Harlem is 15-0-0. That's Chris's cousin. Shannon Courtney, she's back, 7-2-0, taking on Gemma Rugg. This is her first fight back since losing a WBA bantamweight title to Jamie Mitchell, the American, last year. And you got Lyndon Arthur, who is on the comeback trail after getting knocked out by Anthony Yarde in 2020. He takes on Cesar Herman Reynoso. I don't know if he's any relation to Eddie. I wouldn't have thought not. He's 17-17-4. That's at light heavy. And George Lillard versus Herv, however you pronounce that, welterweight. There's no matchups on the undercard that I'm thinking, I'm looking forward to that. None. It's not so much the fighters, it's the matchups. There's no real good matchups there. They could have got Lyndon Arthur a better opponent than that. We've got light heavies everywhere in the country. Like, I'm in two minds whether I'm going to bite or not now, to be honest with you. I'm in two minds. Because as excited as I am for the main event, it has potential car crash written all over it. Potentially. A fight like that needs the security of a good undercard. Conor Coyle's unbeaten. He might be better than what I think, to be honest. But they should have had Fabio Wardley, Nathan Gorman on this card. Because they could have made that. Cali, Nice and Eddie, they could have made that. Existing customers, a one-off fee for £19.99 in the UK. Non-subscribers, for a 1-month subscription, you pay $27.98. That's not actually bad. It's not bad. £27.98 in Ireland, €27.98 in Ireland, $55.98 in Australia, and $34.98 in New Zealand. In the UK, it will be available if you have a TiVo box or Virgin Media, so that gives it a lot more accessibility and simplifies the purchase for a lot of people. All other countries will have it part as their subscription. So they went all out on this one. Conor Benn, his reach is not listed, but he's 5'8". I assume he doesn't have a 72.5-inch reach like Chris Eubank, who's 5'11". Chris, 32 wins, 2 losses, 23 knockouts. Conor, 21 wins, 14 knockouts. Conor, 26 years of age, and Chris is now 33. Significant wins for Eubank, or fights, let me just say fights. Split decision loss to Billy Joe Saunders, beating Dmitry Shudinov for the WBA interim belt, stopping Gary O'Sullivan and Nick Blackwell, knocking out Reynold Quinlan for the IBO belt, outpointing Arthur Abraham, knocking out unbeaten Avni Yildirim in Germany in the WBSS tournament, unanimous points decision loss to George Groves, flooring James DeGale twice and thoroughly dominating him and retiring him, injury victory over Matt Kobarov, decking Liam Williams 4 or 5 times and comprehensively outpointing him last time out. Conor Benn, the surprise battle he had with trial horse Cedric Peynaud, it was 5-4-3 going into the fight, and Ben was down twice in the first round, but he pulled out a perhaps too wide victory by flooring Peynaud in the 5th and in the 6th. It was a great fight. It was really a great fight. Avenging the Peynaud loss via 10-round decision. Another tough fight though, but he won well. He won well. Outpointing Sebastian Formella, some say in a more convincing fashion than Sean Porter did, stopping Samuel Vargas in a round, outpointing Adrian Granados over 10, knocking out Chris Algieri in 4, and stopping Chris Van Heerden in 2. That's the form book going in. From the end of 2019 till now, Ben has fought a total of 5 times and Eubank 3. So Frank Smith, Matchroom, whilst the quote-unquote talks between AJ and Fury continue, they are indeed looking at other options in case the fight falls through. Zhang Zhilei's put up his pitch. He said he'd love to fight AJ in China. AJ beat him in the Olympics. He said the venue is here. The Bird's Nest holds 100,000. Beijing and Shanghai are the biggest cities, very economically developed, and he's made his pitch. Zhang, however, has slid out of the ratings after losing to Filip Hrgovic just the other month on the AJ Usyk bill. Then Martin Bakole was another option, and you had Billy Nelson saying they can recreate the Rumble in the Jungle with AJ and Bakole. I mean, like, just not being funny, it just sounds tacky. Were you going to get them to fight in loincloths as well, Billy, for the title of King of Africa? Billy's talking about setting up the bout in the Congo. Nothing against that. Nothing against the fight. Bakole's coming off a great win against Tony Yoka in Yoka's backyard. But, you know, the whole Rumble in the Jungle. Well, Martin isn't George Foreman and AJ isn't Ali. Billy went forward with the proposal to 258 management, and apparently they weren't interested. It was probably when you started talking about Rumble in the Jungle and the King of Africa shit. Billy hasn't got a clue. Bakole, however, does have 2 top 10 rankings, number 4 with the WBA and number 5 with the IBF. Filip Hrgovic was another option. He signed with Matchroom. He actually beat Zhang. Nee Sauerland, he said, yeah, he wouldn't mind Filip fighting Joshua, although he won the IBF Eliminator. Filip has 2 top 10 rankings, number 1 with the IBF and number 6 with the WBO. The last option is Otto Wallin, who hasn't had an opportunity to build on his credible 2019 points loss to Tyson Fury. He's prepared to travel to the UK, he says, and fight Anthony Joshua, and he believes he'll beat him. Wallin has 3 top 10 rankings, number 6 with the WBO, number 10 with the IBF, and number 8 with the WBC. All opponents way better than Manuel Charr, who Tyson is telling us he's going to fight, but I think him and Frank put that out there and probably weren't expecting such a negative reaction to fighting Manuel Cha. Well, I don't know what they was expecting. I think from a technical standpoint, Otto Wallin could pose AJ the most issues. From a commercial standpoint, maybe the Zhang fight in China, be a huge fight, a huge event, great event for the zone to cover as well. Who would you like to see him fight out of 4 opponents? They're all credible, in my opinion.